Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 406 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube as always. Thank you very much for tuning in, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording. And I have just seen out of the corner of my eye, by the way, for those of you who were here for the first video, the reason why turning up for the second one took a little bit longer than expected was because I had a technical glitch, but thankfully it happened while I was not broadcasting. The techie, this was a hardware issue, by the way. Yeah, the hardware and the software and the net and have not been on my side lately, but it meant that a lot of you were able to have a very long chat with each other and discuss all sorts of perfume related and non-perfume related things. Rachel gets the first comment, by the way, and she says, fascinating. I'm guessing that is in relation to the perfume we're just about to talk about. Can't wait for your opinion on this one, says Rachel. Thank you very much. JC says, I can't believe I actually made the start of 2 Persolaise live sessions. Well, there you go. Perhaps you need to buy a lottery ticket this week. Sandra's here as well. Eric says, interesting, I thought it might be the new tower. Now, okay, very, very quickly then. If by the new tower you mean... Oh, gosh, now, somebody help me out. Do you mean the new limited edition Extrait? Does its name start with an N, or has it got an X in it or something like that? Nexin. Thank you very much. Thank you. If you mean Nexin, I can say that I have smelt it and I have worn it on skin once, and it really, really is quite interesting. A really fascinating interplay between moss and vetiver in the base, and this is all from memory, by the way, and some interesting kind of citrusy but not quite citrusy thing happening. It is quite futuristic, very, very, very compelling, strange, and yet still has that kind of familiar retro-y Andy Tower touch, but also apparently sold out in most places. So yeah, I don't know how, if any of us want to buy a bottle of it, how we're going to be able to, because I know it's sold out in the UK. But anyway, that was a little bit of a digression there. The title of this perfume, says Gavin, reminds me I was meant to see Killers of the Flower Moon today. Ooh, you should have. Now that is a good film. That is a good film. I was very, 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 very impressed. And so on and so forth. Lots and lots of comments. If you have tried this one, please let me know what you think of it. This is new from Quartana, and excuse me, it is called Forest of the... Oh, look, there's more Persolaises there, like one wasn't enough. Forest of the Golden Dream, which is probably about as evocative a perfume name as you are likely to get. Composed by a perfumer called Celine Barel, a name I'm not overly familiar with. I believe she is with IFF. But I think perhaps the most interesting thing in her on her CV until this is Tacit for Aesop. Apparently she made or co-made that. So there we are. Tracy says, strange sounds good. Oh, you mean the tower? Thank goodness it's sold out. Yeah, I think I kind of felt a little bit sort of thank goodness it's sold out as well. Musk in Heaven says, I think she did Squid by Zoologist. Oh, she may have done Squid, I don't know, but she's certainly done the latest Dragonfly. She's done Dragonfly. Okay, let's have a smell of this. This is part of the rebranding, the relaunching of Quartana. Joseph Quartana himself very kindly came on this channel a little while ago, gave us his time for an interview. We should have him back, actually. I think he was a great interview subject. So he gave us his Hierophante. That was last year, wasn't it? Yeah, it was, which I thought was great. This is very different. I have worn this a couple of times already, and I have very, very happily worn it. I have, been sort of drawn towards wearing it. Madame Persolaise has purred more than once as she has smelt it on me, and which is probably actually the only review I need to do. Madame Persolaise purred. That's all you need to know. Anyway, Sharon says, I have Quartana's Wolfsbane, which is quite enjoyable to wear in the colder months. Here we go. Okay, as I say, over the last couple of weeks, I've smelt this a few times, and the very, very first thing that I think each time I smell it is the very same thing that I'm thinking now. I'm thinking, this is so deliciously and wonderfully complex. We're so grateful for complexity in perfumery nowadays, aren't we? Because we don't get it as much as, I don't think we get it as much as we should, and we certainly don't get it as much as the likes of you and me would like to get it. So, and because it's complex, you really kind of have to work hard to try to describe it, because describing it isn't very easy. There are some things that leap out, a kind of green camphoraceous pine-like feel, which then maybe gives you suggestions of something lemony, gently citrusy. But as soon as I say one thing, I almost want to contradict myself and say, yes, but it's not just pine, or it's not just wood, or it's not just green. It is complex. And it does change and evolve over time. It's got, even though so far I've described it as being quite outdoorsy and verdant and foresty and green, it's also very definitely got a kind of fire aspect to it, a fire facet to it. And then suddenly you're thinking, okay, so is it like a pine wood, a pine forest that has somehow been shrunk and placed into a fireplace in the middle of your house and is burning there in a fireplace? Because it does weirdly do a kind of indoor outdoor thing all at the same time. And then it starts becoming quite sappy and quite resinous, and just ever so slightly disconcerting. You know, the words here are interesting. You know, the key words are forest and golden and dream. And you think, okay, but is it actually teetering on the edge of the very opposites of those words as well? So is it dream or is it nightmare? Is it golden or is it sort of dull and dark and completely not gleaming at all? Is it a forest or is it a completely artificial, urban, sci-fi type environment? And I think, you know, if memory serves, Joseph Quartana himself is quite interested in sci-fi futuristic aesthetics. Yeah, it's doing lots and lots of interesting things. Let's put that blotter there for the moment. It is a kind of landscape type perfume. So I suppose in that sense, forest is quite apt, because it makes you think of a large, wide open space. Whether that space is threatening or welcoming, I mean, forests in fairy tales fulfill all sorts of functions, don't they? And this does have a kind of fairy tale type quality to it as well, in the same way that Hierophante did. We have a pre-sprayed blotter, but before we look at that, let me just tell you a little bit what the brand says. I better just pick up the tablet, otherwise you'll just be seeing the side of my face all the time. So, the brand is launching Forest of the Golden Dream in September 2023. Inspired by the healing power of a majestic pine forest, it's available no, hang on, I shouldn't say that, because it was available in a 10 ml travel size for a limited time only. Anyway, let's skip all of those bits. Forest of the Golden Dream is the first in an all-new collection of perfumes inspired by healing rituals called Les Potions d'Enteleki. Now, Enteleki, thank you, Joseph, was something that I actually had to look up. Obviously, all of you out there know what Enteleki means, but apparently, in philosophy, entelechy is a particular type of motivation or a need for self-determination and inner strength directing life and growth to become all one is capable of being, which is a pretty superb name for a perfume range. Anyway, so this particular fragrance, so the first of the Les Potions d'Enteleki, perfected over 8 years, says Joseph, with IFF's master perfumer Celine Barel and Parfum Quartana under the direction of founder and creative director Joseph Quartana's vision, is inspired by his own healing experiences. The new collection harkens back to the healing practices of ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome, and will be released sequentially rather than all at once to highlight their individually unique properties. Good for you, Joseph, for not doing the whole I'm going to give you all of them in one go. Full of warmth, hope, and grace, the new fragrance features an accord appearance. Well, warmth, yeah, but I think there's something dangerous going on here as well, because maybe with all healing, you have to walk through the flames as well. I keep getting the burntness. Long list of notes here. Cardamom, pink pepper, coriander seed, laurel leaf oil, sfumatrice Italian lemon oil, pomple zest. That sounds like some kind of clever synthetic. French mimosa absolute from Laboratoire Monique Remy. A libinum oil, violet leaf absolute, pine needle oil, fir balsam needle oil, fir balsam resin absolute. Lots and lots of fir and pine here. Eucalyptus, cypress, sandalwood, and LMR's variant of patchouli oil, as well as moss. So lots and lots of things, like I said. Forest of the Golden Dream immediately takes the wearer to an enchanted forest, pine needles crunch underfoot, crisp evergreen hanging in the air, and a golden solar radiance throughout. And a quote from Joseph himself says, "Here the veil between reality and the imaginary thins, and here we can kiss the gods and draw divine inspiration from them." And that is the bit that I would completely agree with. I would agree that it has this kind of twilight, world quality, where I suppose maybe Joseph and I disagree slightly, is that he seems to see it as being all luminous and bright and warm, and whereas I think it's got real darkness to it as well. Here's the pre-sprayed one. Oh, Shan says this one sounds right up my alley. I must test. Yeah, but I think to everybody I would say do test this one, because it's the kind of scent that you can't just describe in words. You need to smell it. Yeah. So this was sprayed, like I said, 2 hours ago. It's now really quite camphoraceous, resinous. That pine and fir and cypress is linking very, very definitely to the patchouli, but the patchouli isn't especially earthy, although you still get that dark earthiness there. To me, this is like a forest in a fairy tale. And I suppose that's where we've got the point of connection with what Joseph is trying to convey with this sort of sense of healing. Because I think lots of stories and fairy tales and rituals associated with them are meant to have a kind of cathartic healing purpose, aren't they? And so I can completely see that this is the forest that you have to get to and you have to go through in order to come out cleansed and healed on the other side. But like in any good quest, you have to encounter a little bit of evil and a little bit of darkness on the way. Gavin says this perfume company sounds like they have a very interesting intellectual approach based on all that early 20th century literary spookiness. Yeah, spookiness is a good word, but it works well in this context. Oh, and Eric says, all right, off to see my movie. Ooh, well, enjoy it. No, definitely. And if you can get hold of some of the floral perfumes that Joseph did a while ago, when he did the Les Potions Fatales, do try to get them. They're all in their own way very, very, very interesting and well worth seeking out. Right. I think we're done with this one. We need to finish because the next video has the potential to be a little bit on the long side, because we're going to try and do a showcase of 5 perfumes as quickly as possible. Oh, final question from Gavin. Where are they stocked in London? At the moment, I believe nowhere in the UK. So I think if you want to try them, you have to order them from the States or maybe from a European stockist somewhere. But I believe Joseph is working on it. So thank you very much for watching. Back in a few minutes with a showcase from Nishani. See you in a bit. Thanks for watching. Bye.